How do you miss how many?
1.4 million.
How do you miss 1.4 million fake accounts?
From a year ago when you did your first review.
Yeah, it kind of doesn't add up.
Yes, so Wells Fargo this morning said, look, we went back, we re-reviewed this period, and we also added some additional years, about twice as many. And in doing all of those things, we found 1.4 million accounts, bringing us to 3.5 million accounts that our employees potentially created without authorization.
So, Laura, let's not just let the price action set the narrative this morning. The stock's down marginally. If this is significant, why is it significant?
At this point, it's really more of a reputational story, as it has been for more than a year. You know, we've just getting Congress back into session here, you know, on September 5th after the Labor Day holiday. This could be something, and has been something over the last year, that lawmakers want to know more about, that are pressuring the banks, saying, look, we need to change these rules because we really can't have banks like you doing this.
Yesterday, we were talking about Warren Buffett and Bank of America. A massive stake. He's made a huge amount of money in that company. Let's talk about Warren Buffett and Wells Fargo. What's he going to be thinking when these headlines cross the wires, cross the Bloomberg this morning?
Well, I mean, as Warren Buffett has said, he believes in Wells Fargo, but he believes that they really did a mess up here. And that's something that he's been consistently saying for the last year or so. So I can't imagine that he would be pleased with these type of headlines. But at the same time, he has been well aware of the, you know, fraughtness that this bank has been going through.
What do we wind up making about this versus all the other headlines that happen with banks and sort of lawsuits and fines? Not on the content, but in terms of the it's never going to end. We don't know how much legal costs they're going to have to set aside. We don't know how much damage financially it's going to do to them.
Well, I think Wells Fargo has not given a figure in saying this is the absolute amount that this could cost us, which I think investors really want to understand. You know, what is this final amount? And every time that we get new headlines, it's every time, you know, additional numbers. Even today, Wells Fargo said we had to pay $10.7 million just in, you know, client refunds. So every time we hear this, it is more money, and I don't know that they necessarily have a good handle on, you know, additional lawsuits. But if we back it up too, every time we hear about Wells Fargo, it's a new scandal. I mean, they had recently this auto accounts information, you know, having these insurance contracts that customers didn't want. So that's another set of lawsuits that are coming out too.
Laura, did Wells Fargo just get too big?
I think some regulators would say that. You know, certainly some lawmakers, when you have someone like, you know, Senator Elizabeth Warren or even Maxine Waters saying, look, these banks are too big, that definitely feeds into the Democratic line.